Let's talk about something kinda scary. What happens when the medicines we count on just stop working? Well, it's not science fiction. It's the very real threat of antimicrobial resistance, or AMR. Today, we're diving deep into India's huge challenge with these superbugs and why the country is launching a second, really urgent national action plan to fight back.
First things first, we need to get our heads around the sheer scale of this problem. This isn't just some minor issue. For India, this is a full-blown emergency.
Okay, you really have to see these numbers to believe them. A 2023 World Health Organization report found that, on a global level, about 1 in every 6 bacterial infections is resistant to antibiotics. But in India, that number skyrockets to 1 in 3. That's literally double the global average. We're talking about common infections becoming incredibly difficult and sometimes impossible to treat.
So what exactly is AMR? Well, to put it simply, it's when the germs, bacteria, viruses, all those tiny things, they basically evolve. They get smart, and they figure out how to survive the very drugs we designed to kill them. They become superbugs, and that makes what used to be simple illnesses potentially deadly.
So why is India getting hit so hard by this? Well, it's really a perfect storm of factors. For starters, there's just a high burden of infectious diseases, which means more antibiotics get used in general. Then, there's the huge issue of overuse and misuse of these drugs, which just gives bacteria more chances to learn and adapt. And finally, there are gaps in the system for actually tracking and managing this resistance as it grows.
But here's the thing. To really get this crisis, you have to look way beyond just our hospitals and pharmacies. This problem is much, much bigger than just human medicine.
You might be thinking, okay, so this is just about doctors giving out too many antibiotics, right? The answer to that is a clear and resounding no. It's so much more connected than that.
This is what's so wild. AMR has these cold arms that have reached into almost every part of our world. We see it in how we treat livestock, we see it contaminating our soil and water, and from there, guess what? It gets into our food chain. A resistant bacteria that starts on a farm can, and does, end up causing an infection in a person.
So how do you fight a problem that's literally everywhere? This is where this idea of the One Health approach comes in. And it's a powerful idea, but it's also pretty simple. It says you can't solve this crisis by just focusing on people. You have to tackle human health, animal health, and the health of our environment all at the same time. They're all pieces of the same puzzle.
Now, India has tried to get ahead of this before. There was a first national action plan. So let's take a look back and see how that went. Let's give it a report card.
And the final grade, well, it's not great. The editorial we're looking at today describes the first plan's rollout as sluggish. It led to only marginal gains. So while it was a start, it just didn't have the teeth or the widespread action needed to make a real dent in the problem. But hey, it wasn't a total failure, and we've got to look at what actually worked. On the hits side of the scoreboard, the plan did a great job of raising awareness and making AMR a national issue. It also helped expand the lab network needed to track these bugs. And there was one massive win: banning the antibiotic colistin in animal feed. That was huge. The big miss, though? It was a critical one. It just failed to get real buy-in and collaboration from the individual states where all the on-the-ground action actually happens.
And this slide right here shows you exactly why that state-level partnership is so crucial. A few states did go ahead and create their own plans, which is great, but only Kerala managed to put its plan into practice well enough to see a real, measurable drop in AMR levels. It's a small drop, sure, but it's proof of concept. When these plans are implemented well at the local level, they can actually work.
So, all of that brings us to today. With that first attempt not quite hitting the mark, India is now rolling out version 2.0. The big hope here is that this new plan is going to act like a much-needed booster shot in this fight against superbugs.
So what does this new plan absolutely have to get right? Well, the source is pretty clear on this. First, it has to really, truly double down on that One Health approach we talked about, not just on paper, but in practice. Second, it has to fix the single biggest failure of the last plan and get much better coordination with the states. And third, it has to go right to the root of the problem and just aggressively tackle the overuse of antibiotics across the board.
As we wrap this up, the message here is pretty stark. The stakes for this second attempt are incredibly high. There really is no room for failure this time around.
And I just want to leave you with this one line from the editorial because it says it all perfectly. This time around, the policy will have to be the real deal and deliver against resistance. After that sluggish start, everyone knows this second chance can't be wasted. This fight against superbugs is basically a race against evolution itself,
And for India, the time to win that race is right now.